Dallas would be able to formulate something where Andy Dalton, even if he doesn't win the game, at least doesn't cost you the game through an anemic offense, the leader of an anemic offense, that Ezekiel Elliott has more success even behind the porous offensive line nowadays for the Cowboys, and they could do something resembling anything, because if they do, they should beat this pathetic Washington team and reclaim first place in maybe the worst division of all time, Stephen A.
A win for the Dallas Cowboys this weekend would mean absolutely positively nothing other than a number in the win column. I mean, first of all, they're playing against a team that doesn't even have a name. They're the Washington football team. They didn't even put DC out there. We don't know whether it's Washington or Washington State, for crying out loud. They didn't even put DC in there. At least say Washington DC. They didn't even do that.
You should just call it the DC team.
How about DC? I mean, the nation's capital. I mean, that's all. You couldn't even do that. That's number one. Number two, who's their quarterback? Is it Dwayne Haskins? Is it Kyle Allen? Is it Alex Smith? We don't even know who the quarterback is. So we don't know the name. We don't know the quarterback. Who's their wide receiver? We don't care. Who's the tight end? We don't care. We know they lost 5 straight. You know what, Washington? I can't even say. First of all, you didn't want to say the name before. Now there's no name to say. It's never happened. I don't know. I don't recall this ever happening in the National Football League history. Listen, let's put things in its proper perspective. Okay. Here's what we know, and I'm not joking when I say this. I'm being incredibly respectful. I want everybody to understand. The Washington football team in the National Football League has made news for 4 things this year, and 4 things only. The hiring of Julie Donaldson, Senior VP Media Relations, the brother that they hired to oversee operations on the business side after unloading Bruce Allen, Ron Rivera's battle with cancer, and we wish him nothing but the best, okay? And the fact that Dwayne Haskins has gotten benched. And if you want to add a 5th storyline, which is an incredibly good feel-good story, Alex Smith, and coming back after that nasty leg injury 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. We are happy to see him on the field. It was a beautiful sight to see his kids, and Jason Wright is president, right? You have, so Julie Donaldson, Jason Wright, Ron Rivera's health situation, Dwayne Haskins being benched, and Alex Smith returning to the lineup with his beautiful wife and kids in the stands. That is what an NFL team in 2020 have made news for over this entire NFL season. There is nothing else relevant about the Washington football team. The Washington football team. You can't even give them a name. I mean, you call them the Washington Warriors or something. I'm just saying, is it just me, or does anyone see how bad that is?
By the way, what you say about them making news, in fact, that they don't have a name because they were scandalized eventually into dropping their despicable name, which I told you Daniel Snyder would do years ago. Mm-hmm. And they were so unprepared for the moment, they didn't even have a name to replace it with.
That's a good point.
Pathetic. 1. 2, the reason for all the new hires, Stephen A., in the front office is they were scandalized into that, too, by a rotten culture that was publicized.
Fine, but I'm not hating on it because I think Julie Donaldson is going to do a hell of a job. I think Jason Wright is going to do a hell of a job. All right, listen, I believe that's right. He was a very impressive dude. Obviously, you've got Ron Rivera. We know his history. We respect Ron Rivera, and we wish him nothing but the best because he's a really good man, okay? But I'm saying that, along with Alex Smith's return and the benching of Dwayne Haskins, we're 6 weeks into the NFL season, and that is all we have to talk about with the Washington Redskins. I mean, this is Washington football team. Right. This is pathetic.
Is beating the Giants anything to write home about?
No.
Right.
Not really.
But the Eagles just took first place by doing it.
I understand that.
The Cowboys can reclaim it.
Hey, what's their name? It's the Giants. What's their name? It's the Eagles. What's their names? It's the Cowboys. What's the Washington football team? We don't even know if it's in the only people that watch football. The only reason we know they're in D.C. is because we know football. They haven't even had the decency to highlight the fact that they're in D.C. instead of the state of Washington in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
They should do the X for the name. Like, Cassius Clay was Cassius X before he became Muhammad Ali. They should be the
right,
Washington X's.
I understand that, but the bottom line is that's pretty damn pathetic.
But it's not about, you're talking about Washington.
Nothing.
We're talking about the Cowboys.
And I'm saying the Cowboys, it means nothing to be. What is beating a nameless team,
you're not
seemingly bereft of talent and leadership? What does that really mean? Especially when you're in the worst conference in the division in NFL, the worst division in NFL, maybe in history.
You are doing to the American public what you accuse me of doing. This is all misdirection. You just want to go off on Washington. This is about the Cowboys, Southern Steve. This is about the Cowboys. And the NFC East is about the Cowboys versus the Eagles. The Eagles just took over first place with a win.
Hey, buddy.
And now the Cowboys can reclaim it with a win.
Listen to me, buddy. It's my bad. I apologize for not pointing out that this is about the Cowboys. This is not about that team with no name in D.C. area. I mean, it's Chocolate City. I take pride in that city. I love it. I love the District of Columbia. For those of you out there who didn't know what D.C. stood for, because certainly the Washington football team did not tell you. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. They're members of the worst division in the history of the National Football League, and they happen to be in last place. In the worst division in the history of the NFL, they're in last place. As far as I'm concerned, poor Julie Donaldson, poor Jason Wright, their reputations are being tarnished because they're associated with this franchise. At least give them a name. Call them the Cougars. Call them the Warriors. Do some Washington Warriors. That ain't bad. Do something. Come on. To not even have a name, it just shows the lack of leadership, the lack of vision.
That's not fair. That's not fair. The team's only had decades to come to grips with it.
And then you know what he said? We might keep it that way next year.
He did not.
If you take 2 years to name a team, that better be one hell of a name.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.